Welcome back to the Ross Bolen podcast. I am your host, Ross Bolen, here once again with Jared Borislow, a.k.a. J-Bone. Jared, did you see the video of Steph Curry hitting like 5 full court shots at the Warriors practice facility?
Yeah.
That got pumped out all over social media. So I'm 35, right? But I've worked on the internet for 11 years. I'm pretty savvy with it. Usually I can spot when these things are fake. But me and my high school group text, which is like 4 or 5 other guys, we argued about whether or not it was real for literally 48 hours before the news broke that it ended up being completely fake. And I am legitimately furious about this. Like, it's not even a bit. I'm angry. Fuck Steph Curry. It makes no sense. Putting out edited feats of athleticism in 2022 is truly pathetic. Steph Curry is a fraud. He should be arrested for misleading children. And here's why. This is the guy that can hit more absurd long distance, like basically invented. Like, he looked at the 3-point line when he came into the NBA and was like, pussies, backed up 5 feet and started draining those. This is the guy that is routinely hitting the closest thing to half-court shots that we've ever seen in the league. He basically reinvented the sport of basketball by being the most precise long-distance shooter in the history of the game. And he doesn't need this. He doesn't need this at all. It makes no sense at all that he put these out. And do you remember, like, when you would have been probably like 12 years old when Michael Vick was in the NFL and Powerade put out a television commercial that was Mike Vick, like, first he like pegged a receiver in the chest and the receiver goes flying backward, and then he throws a ball that literally exits the stadium that he's in because it goes so far. And it was obviously fake, but it was the first one of these like edited trick shot fake videos that I can remember. But the difference is that was for a television commercial for a major corporation, and it was in the year 2001. How old were you in 2001? Quick math.
8
years old Jared was so that's how long ago. So putting out bullshit like Steph did just to mess with people and make yourself look cool, especially when you're him and you don't need it, it's unbelievably lame.
Here's the issue that I have, and I think it's the same one you have. This is not, it is, but the fact that we all believe it is a sign that he shouldn't have done it. And it has to be unbelievable because we're like, oh, you know what? Like, I could see him doing this. He got really lucky. Like, he's a skilled guy.
Yes.
And like,
I 100% bought it. First of all, I'm looking closely. It's very well edited. We have great technology in 2022 for video editing, if you didn't know that. But I mean, I watched it 100 times and I was like, yeah, he did it. This is real. And it's not beyond the realm of possibility that he would have a lucky 5-shot streak and nail 5 full quarters, being who he is, right? Based on everything else I just said. And the way he celebrates, he like runs off out the door or whatever. It's just all so lame when you get the context that it is actually fake. And he came out and argued that it's the ultimate compliment, quote, ultimate compliment, end quote, that people thought it was real, which to me makes it 10 times worse because people thought FTX was real too, and he was in those fucking commercials, and he's just a giant doucher.
It's also in Subway commercials, and I don't know how much of their meat is real.
That's fair too. But yeah, I mean, look, from the mouth guard chewing to the fake videos, he's just, I've never been able to make myself really like this guy. And my God.
You bought the Chef Curry ones.
I do not have the Chef Curry ones.
You got like 3 pairs of them, 3 different colorways.
I don't own any Chef Curry ones. I spent all my money on anti-Semitic Yeezys.
Oh.
But after all this, like, I'm furious. I'm online. I'm like tweeting about it and shit. And then he put out another video. They had another one in the tank. Him and some fucking film crew made a second one. I'm assuming the same day probably, but it's where he's facing away from the basket. He's standing right on the other side of the 3-point line, and he throws the ball nonchalant over his shoulder for like 3 or 4 shots while he's thanking his fans for all the support during this incredible season, and he drains all of them. So I guess he saw some of the outrage, or the company that made those videos saw some of the outrage. So they put out the real version and kind of showed in a clip how they made it fake. And I became 25x angry when I saw he's not even close.
Wait,
he's not even
on the full court
fucking
ones or the 3-point
on
ones?
the 3-point over the shoulder, no look. Not even like the same distance that I would be missing these, and I'm just.
I need to see the full court clips now. Then
yes, how off were those fucking shots? I mean, the thing is, they couldn't have been that off because then you can't use the tech to make it look like perfect, like he drains them or whatever. But I spent a lot of time in my driveway shooting long distance, way beyond the realm of the 3-pointer shots, and I don't make very many of them. And I was just, I can't, like, I'm angry at myself for believing, but more than anything, I'm angry at him.
I have a really good Content Cade story.
Okay, hit me.
So one day, this would be like 2 weeks ago, Cade and I were playing basketball in the front yard, and like he essentially made it so that my new thing is that I only shoot bank shots, and so he was like feeding me the ball, and like I was shooting bank shots just repeatedly.
Using the glass. That's what you do. We're talking about at Bolen Media headquarters, by the way. We got a basketball court in the driveway.
So he did that for me for like 10 minutes, and I was like, dude, Cade, you do that for me. I'm gonna shag your balls, which okay, I shouldn't have said it like that.
No, that is the way you say it though.
I'm gonna shag your balls while you shoot half court shots. So Cade, to do half court, you need to go like kind of far into your front yard.
Yeah, when I said court, I meant we have a basketball hoop in the Bolen Media driveway. But if you're shooting from directly in front of it, you've only got like free throw distance. You have to go left to get more range out toward the street.
So, no, he went into your front yard, like.
On the other side of the fence.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Into the grass.
Into the grass, yeah. So he's doing half court shots from the grass. Takes him a while. He starts off really close. I'm like, wow, he's gonna get this. He proceeds to get further away for like 10 minutes. But finally, and we have neighbors coming by being like, scream when you hit one. I want to know.
You can do it.
They were like, yeah, let me know when you hit it. Like, scream. I want to hear it from my kitchen. Because he'd been doing this for a while, and it makes a really loud sound when you're shooting half-court shots, and they just keep slamming the backboard.
Loud bang, yeah.
Anyways.
Not the Mike Breen bang, but
yeah.
Banging.
After about 10, 15 minutes, he finally hits one, and Content Cade screams, the loudest I've ever heard him scream. He screams, "First try!"
That's good. Yeah. That's good. Just in case anybody happened to only be watching that particular effort, you got to yell first try. I love that from Content Cade.
It had been so long.
For those of you who are unaware, Content Cade is our third full-time employee here at Bolen Media. If you're new to RBP or whatever, we've picked up a lot of new listeners via Formula Bone, via Oysters, Clams, and Cockles coverage of the White Lotus. So just in case there was any confusion.
He makes a lot of the clips that you see on TikTok and Instagram and such.
Absolutely, yeah. He's basically like our marketing guy, you could say. But yeah, I'm angry with Steph. I'm disappointed. I despise the guy. It really is partially wrapped up in like he is one of the D-bags who took money from FTX to do those commercials, which was the big crypto fraud thing that has been in the news for a few weeks now. And the dude sucks. Speaking of which, today's episode is brought to you by MyBookie, our online sportsbook and casino sponsor here at RBP. If you're looking for a place to get all the action you can handle this NFL season or to bet on NBA, college football, golf, MMA, boxing, or whatever, all your sports betting needs are taken care of at MyBookie.ag. They've got all the prop bets, live lines, alternate lines, and futures that you could possibly need, plus the online casino with live roulette, blackjack, and more. And for a limited time, join the MyBookie family using the code ROSS at checkout, and you'll support the show, but also receive a deposit bonus, instantly giving you even more dough to throw at your favorite sporting event. So maybe it's the World Cup that is ongoing. Got more games Friday and then Monday.
Friday and Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah.
So, more games coming up.
We're in the quarterfinals.
USA is out.
USA is out, yeah.
But the soccer continues on.
Yep. Morocco, Cinderella story, underdog. A lot of people rooting for them.
African nation, Morocco. Crazy stuff. The website on MyBookie is awesome on desktop and mobile, incredibly easy to use, beautifully laid out. So what are you waiting for? Use promo code ROSS at sign up today to claim your bonus on MyBookie.ag and lock in for the rest of the NFL season and the playoffs. Bet on the NBA regular season. We've got hockey going right now as well. All of the sports. They've got all of them. Code ROSS at MyBookie.ag to unlock that deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. And other sports news. After 294 days, Brittney Griner, known WNBA star, has been freed from Russian prison in a one-for-one prisoner swap between the U.S. and Russian governments in exchange for the merchant of death, mustachioed arms dealer Victor Bout. And now, before we comment on this, I'm just gonna read you some of the story, okay? And I want to precede all of the jokes by saying, very happy that BG is coming home. Brittney Griner is coming home. It is awesome. But there are obviously some complicated conversations that have to take place around this entire thing. So President Joe Biden signed off on this trade, which took place in the United Arab Emirates, even though it meant leaving behind Paul Whelan, an American corporate security executive who remains jailed in Russia. And I believe he's been there for 4 years. And his family is one of the many groups of people very upset about what has occurred here. But and now, as a result of this trade, I made the joke, it's Brittney Griner for the merchant of death, because when you put it that way, it sounds pretty lopsided. And Biden is being compared to former Texans head coach Bill O'Brien, who infamously traded away DeAndre Hopkins for peanuts and other Pro Bowl level talents as well for absolutely nothing, gutting the Texans franchise, my hometown football team, on the way out.
There's also the more lopsided trade was Herschel Walker for the entire Minnesota Vikings draft picks, which proceeded to make them win like 4 Super Bowls in a row or something.
I think that was the most lopsided trade perhaps in like sports history, the Herschel Walker trade.
Herschel Walker, noted loser.
Noted loser
of the Georgia runoff.
Noted werewolf and vampire believer. But Biden said, quote, "She is safe. She is on a plane. She's on her way home. She will soon be back in the arms of her loved ones, and she should have been there all along." Which is just an interesting thing to throw in when, like, again, you can't have this conversation without also commenting on the fact that there are many, many thousands of people locked up in the United States for cannabis possession, which is what she was arrested for in Russia.
She literally was arrested in Russia. We saved her from being in jail in Russia when there are people who are in jail in America who we are not saving, and we're telling them that they actually are in the wrong. It makes absolutely no sense. If Brittney Griner was not a basketball star, the U.S. would not care
at all.
Not even.
She'd be rotting over there.
She would be completely rotting,
doing all 9 years for sure.
Yeah, which I don't understand what celebrity culture plays into. It's very weird.
Again, very happy BG is coming home. But when you look at this on paper, it is one of the stranger things that has probably ever occurred, like in United States history, just from like a common sense standpoint, when you consider all the facts, like that we do have somebody over there, this Paul Whelan or Whalen, no disrespect if I'm mispronouncing his name, who's been there for 4 years or whatever. His family's furious. They're like, what the hell? But apparently, like, that guy wasn't on the table. Russia was like, no. This is who you can get, and this is who we want. You can either do it or fuck off. And Biden eventually caved and did it, I guess. But it's a mess. He had Brittney Griner's wife, though, Cheryl Griner, in the Oval Office with him, and they were able to speak with Brittney Griner on the phone. There's a lot of cool photos. Great photo op for Biden. One of the few great photo ops he's had in his entire term as president, I would argue. But she's being flown, Brittney Griner, to a medical facility in San Antonio in Texas, where she will receive care. It's going to be, I'm interested to see like her health condition, like how, and obviously to hear from her, she's going to be interviewed by every single major news outlet in the United States, asking her what her experience was like, what the hell happened, what did they do to you, what did you do to them, what was this, what happened. And this move marks one of the most high-profile prisoner swaps between Moscow and Russia, or and Washington, since the Cold War, which is another one of the things that makes it so historic. Like, these governments do not cooperate with each other or do this, rarely ever. So, yeah, it's a mess. And they get back Victor Bout, who Russian President Vladimir Putin has been wanting to get back and who had served 11 years of a 25-year sentence in the United States. He's also one of the guys that inspired the Nicolas Cage film God of War, which if you ever saw that, it's less fun.
Lord of War?
Lord of War?
God of War is a video game.
You're right. It is. I'm a dork. But Lord of War. Solid film, by the way. Nicolas Cage has like a sneaky handful of really good movies. Raising Arizona is another one that I'll throw out there. I'm not a fan of the one where he steals the Constitution. I know a lot of you listening probably
steals the Declaration of Independence.
Whatever.
He steal the Constitution.
Whatever. The Mona Lisa. He steals something that's hard to steal.
Now you're thinking of Da Vinci Code.
Same difference. Tom Hanks, Nicolas Cage. They make the same quality of films, right?
Who is more likely to play who? Is Tom Hanks more likely to play Nicolas Cage in a Nicolas Cage biopic, or is Nicolas Cage more likely to play Tom Hanks in a Tom Hanks biopic?
I thought you were about to ask me who is more likely to play Brittney Griner, Tom Hanks or Nicolas Cage. I was like, I don't think either one of them are going to get that job. I would say Nicolas Cage is more likely to play Tom Hanks in a biopic about Tom Hanks.
I hate when people say biopic. It's biopic. What's a biopic?
I don't know. It sounds like a medical procedure.
It does.
But
it's a biopsy.
I think if you offered Tom Hanks the role of playing Nicolas Cage, he would probably violently attack you.
I don't know.
Offense.
He seems to take anything nowadays.
He does do a lot now, huh? A little weird. A lot of Apple TV movies, I feel like. Apple TV Plus, whatever.
Like, you got to be one of those actors where, like, you can name everything they've been in. Yeah, like, right now.
And he started so hot.
Yeah, he did.
A lot of famous films Tom Hanks is in. Forrest Gump, probably the most well-known.
That was the Academy Award for Movie of the Year or whatever, I believe.
What else is he in?
1996.
Forrest Gump?
That's my guess.
I'll check you.
That's
my
guess.
You, see if you're right.
I don't know if it's right or not.
Name some other Tom Hanks movies. 94. You were close.
I was good. Are you fucking kidding me?
You were going to say 94?
94 was what stuck in my head, but I went, no, there's no way that came out a year after I was born. I was fucking right. I should have said it. Always stick with your gut, kids. Big lesson to learn. He was in Big. He was in Philadelphia. He was in
Green
Castaway.
Mile. Castaway is one of my faves. Watched that a whole bunch of times. Sully. And then...
Sully. I did see that in theaters.
Captain Phillips.
He played Sully and Captain Phillips. That's kind of weird.
Right? A little strange.
Just
but
spread that around.
Yeah.
You can't just have one guy playing all these famous captains.
I saw Captain Phillips in theaters and not Sully because of what you're touching on. I was like, I don't know. I've already seen him do one of these.
Yeah, that makes sense. Captain Phillips, fun fact, he is either lived or lives in, I believe, Underwood, Vermont, which is a tiny little town that I used to always drive through when we'd go to Vermont.
Wow. Saving Private Ryan, one of my favorites.
What the? He's in, yeah.
Catch Me If You Can.
Oh, That Thing You Do.
League of Their Own.
He's the manager in That Thing You Do.
Did you say Big?
I did, yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle, You've Got Mail. Don't care about either one of those, but a lot of people do. The Terminal. One of the guys from that movie died recently. Rest in peace. Don't know which one. I really enjoyed that film, though. I've watched it on an airplane like 3 different times.
You just like it because he eats Burger King for every meal, and that's like something you aspire to.
I also just want to live in an airport.
And you like returning smart cards for quarters.
Anyway, Tom Hanks, great career. Much like Brittney Griner, who had a great career in the NBA and is now returning home. WNBA. Thank you, Jared. Wow. But no, it is a messy story. It's going to be interesting to see how the coverage of it shifts once she's actually back and safe and people can stop with the niceties, right? Because it is complicated, complex.
And to your point, I don't understand how you can not say we need to have federally legal marijuana. If she was brought back and that was the crime she committed.
I mean, that's illegal in Texas, where you and I are.
Are they going to prosecute her here now? If she's coming back here?
The difference, obviously, is you wouldn't get 9 years for one cannabis cart, which I think is what she got caught with. But you would still get in trouble. Depending on which city you're in. It's decriminalized in Houston, where I'm from. It's also decriminalized in Austin, so I don't even think they take you in. They just give you like a ticket of some sort. I haven't tested this theory. I haven't smoked weed in like over a month and a half, actually. But happy for Brittney Griner, happy for her wife, happy for fans of the WNBA. But this is going to be a complicated issue. If I'm sitting in prison right now watching coverage of this and I was arrested for pot, I'm pretty fucking pissed off, frankly. Today's episode is also brought to you by Liquid IV. Cooler weather makes it easy to miss signs of dehydration like overheating or perspiration, which means it's even more important to keep your body hydrated. Liquid IV fuels your well-being with easy ways to stay hydrated in one stick. You're getting 5 essential vitamins and hydrating 2 times faster than you would with water alone. Whether you're prepping for the day or taking a long-haul flight, on vacation, or for the holidays, Liquid IV is an essential addition to your routine. So easy, Jared, to take one of these with you on an airplane instead of a marijuana cart.
I was stuck in LAX one time, had a Liquid IV with me. I was like feeling pretty shitty. Pounded one in a probably like an $8 Life Water that I bought at a concessions, a Hudson News inside the airport. Felt so much better afterwards because you get so dehydrated traveling. So to your point, these are a phenomenal thing. Every time I travel, I bring at least one stick with me.
Holidays are here. You're traveling around. Make sure you grab some Liquid IV. Take it with you. I usually have one before a workout, beginning of my day, before a long day of podcasting. It's easy to get dehydrated when you're sitting in here talking for an hour straight and you forget to drink water. Fortunately, I have made it a habit to also fill up my water bottle with a liquid IV before we get started with the podcast. They've got great flavors: Concord grape, lemon lime, pina colada, tropical punch, watermelon, strawberry, passion fruit, guava, tons more. Contains 5 essential vitamins: B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C, with 3 times the electrolytes of traditional sports drinks, made with premium ingredients, non-GMO, and free from gluten, dairy, and soy. And Liquid IV is on a mission to change the world, having donated over 25 million servings in 50-plus countries around the world. So go grab your Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code ROSS at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today, using promo code ROSS at liquidiv.com. All right, I've got some insane headlines of the day for you.
Mm-hmm.
First up, legendary San Diego sword swallower hospitalized with slashed abdominal cavity, pierced liver. The world-renowned swallower, this is straight up from the news. I'm not changing this sentence in any way. World-renowned swallower Scott Nelson has been hospitalized after swords sliced his abdominal cavity and a lobe of his liver was pierced, according to his GoFundMe. And you never want world-renowned swallower to be the way a story about you injuring yourself severely with stupidity to start. And you don't want people receiving the information about your health from your GoFundMe, typically, I don't think.
I mean, I'm mostly curious. This guy is surely, if he's world-renowned, swallowed thousands and thousands and thousands of swords. What happened on this one swallowing that made it all go wrong?
I don't know if it was one or like a buildup over time of many swallowings that he thought went right, but perhaps went slightly wrong, sort of thing. I'll read you some of the story. Nelson frequently referred to himself as, quote, the most dangerous man in show business and ace of swords. He's known for several acts, including being the only man in the world to swallow a rocket-powered sword. And there is no further information about what that even means, but it just...
What? Did he just tape a firecracker to the bottom of a sword and shove it down his gullet?
Bottle rocket, lit the fuse, shot the sword down his throat? No idea, but it all sounds weirdly sexual. He goes by Murugan the Mystic, and he's practiced transcendental meditation for over 35 years. He says, quote, I can stop my heart, lower my heart rate, blood pressure. I deal with the pain of my act by doing the meditation, prayer, relaxation technique, Nelson told AMC TV. The sources in this story are so fucking outrageous. His GoFundMe, him directly, and then AMC TV, which I didn't think normally did, like, reporting.
Is that what Breaking Bad was on?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Or was it on Turner?
No, it's on AMC.
Yeah.
Right?
That's always crazy when that happens. When a humongous, massive show is on a random
channel
network. Yeah.
I think Mad Men was on there, too. Was another one where I was like, why am I on AMC watching Prestige TV right now?
USA had Burn Notice.
Of course they did, Jared.
They also had White Collar, people like that. Psych. Big show.
See? Every network at this point, I think. There's such a plethora. Why can't I? After you've corrected me on biopic, I can't get anything else right.
Plethora? That sounds bad.
A plethora. Anyway, back to the story. Nelson could not eat for a month. And Tuna said he was out of work and would not be able to work for some time.
Who's Tuna?
I guess it's like his representation, Tuna. But this is as a result of the injuries. He might not be able to eat for a month, will be out of work for some time. Part of his lung was removed, and doctors did not think Nelson would recover from the health scare, his representative said. He made a Facebook post where he put up photos of himself with all these crazy scars on his side from the surgeries, I'm assuming, and from the swords swallowing, I'm assuming. It said, quote, holy moly, I had no idea just how bad this was. And the story says, photos on his social media showed numerous contusions, wounds, and stitches on his body, some a true testament to his craft. Wow. Yeah, this is one of those things I never had an interest in.
And swallowing a sword?
Like, how does that happen? Like, as a kid, do you see a sword swallower on the streets of Saudi Arabia and you go, you know what? That's for me. I'm going to do that one day.
It's definitely a thing that, like, you see one person do it, and it's like passed down by seeing it. and then when you're a child, and it like becomes like a fascination. I think.
Maybe it's a family line of work,
like the flying Walendas with their tightrope.
Yeah,
potentially.
Your dad trained you to be a sword swallower, to be a renowned swallower, one of the world's most known swallowers. I can't get over the sexuality of it. I'm a child.
What? How big are these swords?
Sword-sized.
Like a short sword?
I think they're somewhere between a broad sword and a short sword.
I've always wondered, when they do this, can he just stick his neck back far enough to where it's like a straight shot down his esophagus all the way to his stomach? Is that how this works?
You know, I have the same question in other arenas too that aren't sword related.
You gotta stop that.
With huge dicks. Yeah. Like I'm always like, what is the, because isn't like there's an angle at some point, you know? To your point, if you put your head all the way back though, you do create more of a straight shot down the gullet. I don't know what I'm now doing. I gotta stop. We gotta move on to the next one.
Yeah.
This is next story. Tampa Police Chief Mary O'Connor. Tampa, Jared, you're from Tampa.
Well, I'm not from Tampa, but
near Tampa.
Tampa Bay area.
Yeah,
a lot of people think Tampa Bay is a city because Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tampa Bay Rays, Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay is not a city.
Oh my God, I'd never really thought about this.
Tampa Bay.
The city is Tampa.
Tampa is the city. Tampa Bay is the body of water in between Tampa and St. Petersburg. It's the Tampa-St. Petersburg area, kind of like the Twin Cities of Florida. Yeah.
Why are all the sports teams named after the body of water?
Because most of the people, or at least like half the people, are in Pinellas County, which is not Tampa at all. It's across the water from Tampa.
Huh.
Like nobody in Pinellas says that. I would tell people I'm from Tampa only if I'm like, they don't know anything about Florida. I'm just going to say Tampa because they've heard of it from the sports teams.
Right.
Or I'll say Tampa Bay area. But when you say Bay Area, people are like, wait, you're from California? I'm like, no, the Tampa Bay area. It's like the San Francisco one, but way shittier.
But it does make it sound like you're from the water.
Yeah.
You're water people, like a merman.
To be clear, for anybody listening, I am from near Clearwater Beach, which is another part of that area.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the story goes, I guess I should finish the headline. Tampa Police Chief Mary O'Connor resigns after flashing badge and asking to be let go from a traffic stop. And that, in and of itself, is not all that funny. It's the circumstances surrounding this particular traffic stop, which I will get to. A Florida police chief who flashed her badge and asked to be let go from a traffic stop has resigned, Tampa officials said Monday. Quote, Tampa Mayor Jane Castor has requested and received the resignation of Police Chief Mary O'Connor following the completion of an internal affairs investigation into a recent traffic stop involving O'Connor, according to a statement from the mayor's office. Assistant Police Chief Lee Burkaw will serve as interim police chief, the mayor said. O'Connor was put on administrative leave after body camera footage taken from a traffic stop last month revealed she told a sheriff's deputy she was, quote, hoping that you'll just let us go tonight, and showed her badge, CNN reported. O'Connor was a passenger in a golf cart that was pulled over. She was a passenger in a golf cart, passenger seat golf cart, pulled over for driving on a road without a license plate tag, according to footage of the November 12th incident from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. This is the dumbest reason for anyone to get just think of it's just absurd to think about like what cops were getting away with 10 years ago versus now this lady who was the police chief cruising in the neighborhood in a golf cart, which is like a common thing in Tampa, right?
Not that common, but here's the issue. She is the Tampa police chief, and she was in Pinellas thinking that was going to be anything. Tampa and Pinellas don't really, like Hillsborough, that's different counties.
But it worked. It worked. And this is where it gets weird. She's a passenger in the golf cart, and there's like a video of this you can watch online, but like basically she's like, listen, she like flashes the badge, and she's like, listen, can you let us go? It says the deputy explained why the couple was stopped. O'Connor asked if the deputy's body camera was operating and then identified herself as the Tampa police chief. She then asked him, I guess he was like, yes, it is. And she was like, oh, fuck it. Kept going. She then asked him to let her go and showed him her badge. O'Connor apologized to the deputy and then gave him her business card and said, quote, if you ever need anything, call me.
Jeez.
Seriously. And O'Connor and the deputy thanked each other for their service, and the couple was allowed to leave. So what I'm curious about is like, is every minute of police body camera footage reviewed now in certain areas? Because like, or did he get a guilty conscience later and go tell his police chief like, I got to show you this. This was ridiculous, but like the lady gave me her business card and made a sort of weird like wink wink statement to me, and now I feel uncomfortable, so I think we need to do something about it. Like, what the fuck is this? She was in a golf cart.
She was a passenger. She wasn't even going to get a ticket.
She wasn't even driving the golf cart. And it was for not having a fucking license plate on a golf cart. Who puts a fucking license plate on a golf cart?
You do need that.
There's a guy who cruises around my neighborhood now on the weekends with a booze drink in his cup holder, very clearly drinking, and he cruises around, and he's probably in his like mid-40s, maybe early 50s, like awkwardly looking for neighbors to chat with, and he just pulls up on people.
In a golf cart?
Yes. And now I'm gonna call the HOA and report him for not having a fucking license plate on that thing and see what happens.
So the city I grew up in is kind of gone to shit, from what I understand. My family moved out of there, but it's essentially turned into a bunch of Airbnbs, like half the city. Like it used to be all like people live there.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And now it's half, including the house. My childhood home is now an Airbnb.
No way.
Yep. Not great.
Damn.
My parents would not have sold it to these people probably if they
knew that they were going to Airbnb
it. Is what it is.
Huh.
So now the city has a bunch of golf carts. I think the people who live there just said fuck it because they're like, it's all half Airbnbs anyways. Who really gives a shit? But you have to have a license plate. It's legal in my city to have one. You just have to have a license plate on it.
Huh.
And so whenever I will go back there, just like look around,
right,
it's just a bunch of fucking like 12-year-old kids driving souped up golf carts.
Yeah.
I'm happy my parents left.
It's like, it reminds me of Galveston, Texas, where everybody who has a beach house has a golf cart so they can cruise around, and it always ends up being like teenagers drunk driving and smashing into each other and flipping them and shit, and like regularly people breaking legs. Or like growing up in Houston, when I was in, middle school, basically, I went to school with all these rich kids, and a lot of them lived in golf communities on or right off of the golf course. And all these people had golf carts that they would drive around on the weekends and shit. And then this one guy that's in my now neighborhood who, for whatever reason, in the middle of South Austin, nowhere near a fucking golf course, is pretending he's in one of those communities. Also nowhere near a beach. But it doesn't, like, this is such a bad way to lose your job as police chief.
That's that's one of the biggest cities in Florida to be the police chief of.
Yeah.
That's a big role.
Pretty wild. I think it was the line that she said, though, where she said, if you ever need anything, call me. Seriously.
But like, what if she was just like trying to recruit him to her police force?
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
oh yeah, you want to move to Tampa? Like, I got you. Like,
and in the video, they're all like smiling and friendly, like nothing remotely weird takes place outside of like, it's just nobody's upset during it is what I'm saying.
Was she drunk, you think?
I'm pretty sure her and her hubby were like cruising around drunk. She's probably giving him like a golf cart tug or something, but nothing that you would want to lose your police chief job for. She should have just taken the fucking ticket, clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. What, it would have been like $200, maybe? Sad. Very unfair.
It's not that unfair.
No, it's pretty fair. It's just really fucking dumb of her.
Yeah.
Really fucking dumb. And that's the thing, I think. If you're the mayor, you're looking at this going, this woman's in charge of my entire police force. I don't think she has very good judgment. Gonna need your resignation there, lady. But bad on her. O'Connor is a goofball. Today's episode also brought to you by Chime. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Is it checking your credit score? I didn't think so. At Chime, that's exactly what they do. With their secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can start to build credit with your own money. Chime reports your payments to credit bureaus to help you build credit over time. Their members see an increase of 30 points on average. All of this with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. So start your credit journey with Chime. Sign up takes only 2 minutes. It doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/RBP. That's CHIME, chime.com/RBP. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank pursuant to a license from Visa USA. Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact to score may vary, and some users' scores may not improve. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply, except at MoneyPass ATMs in a 7-Eleven or any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM. I got one more headline for you. I think. Maybe two. Nope, I got two. First one. Thai Buddhist temple left empty after all of its monks test positive for meth.
Okay.
Another real story. A small Buddhist temple in northern Thailand has been left without monks after the entire monastery was found to have been using methamphetamine, according to local officials. Following orders to investigate drug use in this province, the sheriff and village head man in Bang Sam Phan subdistrict, some 150 miles north of Bangkok, poked around schools, factories, and temples in search of drug addicts and dealers so they could be sent for rehabilitation. Quote, as a community leader, I was frightened because I never thought the monks would be addicted to drugs, said the village headman. I never thought that drugs would spread to temples. Monks are revered figures in Thai culture. In Bangkok's metro system, seats are reserved for them alongside pregnant and elderly individuals, particularly in rural areas outside Bangkok. Monks are trusted advisors, often serving as counselors and role models in the community. So it was shocking when all 4 monks, first of all, not that many, when they said the full monastery, I was like, what were there, like 30 monks shooting crank in there and just like going ham, fucking smearing their own shit on the walls? What the hell was happening? No, it was just 4 of them in one small temple, but they all 4 tested positive for methamphetamine use. And when the sheriff paid a visit to the monastery on Friday, and apparently it was fair. Oh, at another small temple, 2 monks tested positive, but apparently it was incredibly obvious. Like it says, quote, the monks' personality and behavior gave them away as drug users. And they don't go into it, but I really want to know, like, what was the scene he walked up on here with these 4 smackhead monks in there just going nuts? Meth, by the way, not fun, Jared. You may remember I infamously tried it once in college. One of the longest nights of my life.
Didn't you do it off a toilet seat?
Yes, and it was like taking like 100 Adderall. Like it was just, you're just ridiculously wired, like except in a very, like I don't know how to compare it to like cocaine, but like when you do cocaine, and you shouldn't do any drugs are bad, okay? But if you chose to, I would argue that coke feels a lot cleaner. And if you've done cocaine, that's really saying something, because meth, while you're on it, you just know, oh, this is killing me. Like, this is not good for my body. It's not good. You're just completely wired, completely cracked out of your mind, basically, for hours on end. And it pretty much is the complete and total opposite of what I would picture a monk enjoying. So that's what makes it pretty shocking. Like, these are the people I would expect to be doing what the sword swallower is doing, practicing like transcendental meditation, not smoking methamphetamine, or who knows how they were. Maybe they were snorted off a toilet seat. But it says, even the abbot, the head of the monastery, who had served as a monk for 10 years, was found to be using drugs. It says, quote, when I inspected the abbot's shelter, I was stunned because it was a mess. Yeah, I imagine it was. After the drug test came back positive, the monks confessed to using drugs. Some of them even admitted to being longtime addicts. So who knows how long these monks were left to their own devices, just going full Jesse Pinkman and Walter White with it in there. And that's that. One more story.
Okay.
And this one will lead to more discussion. Elon Musk claims Neuralink will put brain chips in humans in 6 months. Like 6 months from now, from like when the story was published a few days ago. So I completely had forgot. Everybody knows Elon owns Twitter now, right?
You forgot he owned Neuralink, the AI thing?
I completely forgot.
Yeah, we need to stop making fun of him, or else he's going to just go crazy on the AI shit and
kill
destroy all of us.
Yeah. When I think of Elon, I obviously think of Tesla, I think of SpaceX, and now I think of Twitter. I had completely forgotten about Neuralink. This guy has way, way too much going on. But his health tech venture, Neuralink, shared updates to its brain implant technology during a, quote, show and tell recruitment event this past Wednesday night. And Musk said 2 of the company's applications will aim to restore vision even for people who were born blind. And a 3rd application will focus on the motor cortex, restoring, quote, full body functionality, end quote, for people with severed spinal cords. So they're really shooting for the moon, or Mars, I guess, if you want to put it in Elon terms.
Or the Earth's core, the Boring Company, another company he owns.
Oh, totally forgot. Good Lord, this dude. But look, I'm not saying that there aren't future medical developments to be made with crazy technology shit like this and brain implants and whatnot, but it does feel like we're pretty far away from being able to put a chip in somebody's brain and restoring them from paraplegic to fully functioning, or from blind at birth to suddenly being able to see. Now, that being said, I don't know shit about how any of that would work. And like you and I have talked recently about like, how the fuck does TV work? How does the internet work? We don't know these things. We just all go about our business. This is so far beyond that it's silly for me to even try to comprehend. But it says in this story, quote, the announcement should be treated with some skepticism, say experts. But Musk said 2 of the company's applications, oh, no, I'm sorry. The other part of the story is that he is willing to put one of these in his own head as soon as they are available. But he didn't say what he would be trying to fix. in himself or right. I don't know. I don't know what all of the applications for this are.
Here's the thing, though. If he can do any of these things, if he can cure blindness, restore movement, everybody's going to forget about the other shit.
Oh, absolutely.
He's like the next coming of Jesus at that point.
Yeah, that would make him one of the, I think, probably biggest heroes in the history of humanity. So it would really upset the Elon haters if he ends up fucking curing blindness.
No, but look at all the hate speech on Twitter. No, look, he cured blindness. It's like from the Bible.
There are no more blind people now. Are you serious? Like I'm assuming that like deaf people have something to benefit from this too, perhaps. He says, quote, "We are confident there are no physical limitations to restoring full body functionality," and he is willing to put one of these things in his own head to prove their safety as soon as they are made available. But this is legitimately like a straight out of a Black Mirror episode. That's the thing. That's like, for, every time they put out one of those Boston Dynamics videos and everybody freaks out, why are we making these things? They're going to turn on us. These robots are going to murder all of us. Have none of you watched Terminator? Have none of you watched Black Mirror? That's the one thing about these tech billionaires that I just don't quite get, like with Zuckerberg and creating the metaverse and just ignoring the obvious massive red flags that books and cinema and television have been throwing at us for many years at this point, or Elon wanting to put a brain chip in all of our heads so that he can, I guess, cure blindness and other things. It's ridiculous. What would it take? What would you want to fix with a brain chip? What about you is malfunctioning? That maybe your knee?
Maybe not having to drink like 20 ounces of coffee a day to function like a normal human.
Oh, that would be tight.
Save a lot of money too.
That would be tight if instead of coffee, you've just got one of these Neuralink things and you press like the energy button.
It's like a morphine drip, but for caffeine.
Oh shit! Yeah, I like that. I want to cure my carpal tunnel in my hands.
The Boring Company can create a carpool tunnel.
That would be helpful. But yesterday I was writing on the whiteboard. We always have our sponsors up on the whiteboards here in the studio. And I was writing on the whiteboard, and it had been probably 2 weeks since I'd been bothered by my carpal tunnel because I've been wearing these really sexy hand casts when I go to sleep every night. And my hand like froze in the writing position for like 3 minutes. I had to massage it to get it out unstuck, basically. Not good.
Maybe it's because you notably spent 20% of the calendar year 2020 on Twitch playing video games.
I think that was a big part of it, and I'm not joking. I really do. Also, my dad was in town last weekend for my wife's baby shower. Everybody's healthy and happy, by the way. If you needed a baby RJ update, we're doing great. Still expected in February. And my dad and I were playing basketball to take it back to the court, and when we were done, it's like an hour into shooting hoops with him, he's like, "Hey, check out my hands." And he has like these massive skin creases that have built up in the same spot where I feel my carpal tunnel hurting me, and was just like, "Yeah, it's crazy, huh? Aging is nuts." My dad turns 66 tomorrow, by the way. Happy birthday to my pops. But this guy is a freak show. He won't go to the fucking doctor for any. If I saw even the slightest evidence that one of what he's got going on his hand was starting to build on mine, I would be in the doctor the next freaking day. But this dude's just been dealing with it for God knows how many years. I don't look at his hands all that often, so I've never noticed. But when he showed me point blank, it's like a fucking hill of skin has cropped up, and it's creating like a long hill of what are you looking at your hand now? Do you have that?
I don't have that at all. I'm trying to picture what it could be, what it even could look like.
I don't even know how to explain it. It's like a skin hill that's long though, and creates a valley on both sides. I don't know why. I've got nothing. But it was strange. Dad, go to the doctor, man. That's what doctors exist for, to fix whatever that freak show is you've got going on your hand there. But I can already tell my dad is going to be a huge pain in the ass when he's elderly.
Well, get him a Neuralink.
Oh yeah, unless Elon gets the Neuralink out in time, and I can just plug one of those into his head when he's sleeping and fix all of his issues, like his hands. Perhaps. We'll see. It is obviously the holiday season, as we reminded you last week. We've got all kinds of great gifts for the RBP fan in your life, even if that person is you. You can go to bolenmedia.com/shop, pick out what you want, send the links to your parents, say, "Mom, Dad, I want these." Shipping is very, very fast in some instances, I've noticed. Like, we've placed orders here and gotten our stuff in like 2-3 days.
Yeah, 2-3 days has like been normal for me.
Which is really, really crazy. But I do know it depends on where you're located based on how close you are to one of the distribution plants or whatever.
And what you're ordering as well.
And what you're ordering.
Mugs take a little bit longer because they have to I don't even know how they make those. Use a kiln? I don't understand how that works.
More technology that we don't understand. But yeah, bolenmedia.com/shop to get yourself some Stack Good Days coffee mug or a mouse pad or a crew neck sweatshirt or a Bone Zone themed long sleeve t-shirt or
Formula Bone hat, Formula Bone shirt.
Great
Sebastian
Formula
Vettel
Bone
themed
merch.
Shirt, yeah.
As we've said, the F1 off season has begun, but there is no off season for Formula Bone. Make sure you tune in to all of Jared's incredible F1 coverage on the Formula Bone F1 show, available wherever you listen to RBP, and of course on social media at Formula Bone on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. But subscribing on YouTube, best way to support Jared, youtube.com/@FormulaBone.
Everything I make is on YouTube. That's the only place where everything I make is in one spot.
Get there for all your F1 coverage. Follow us on TikTok at The Ross Bolen Podcast, on Instagram at The Ross Bolen Podcast, and on Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. You can follow me, Ross Bolen, at WR Bolen on Twitter and Instagram. Follow Jared at Jared Borislow. And we will be back on Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast with a special guest, our first guest in a very, very long time.
Yes, very long time.
The only tease I will give you is it is a former coworker of Jared and I who has created his own business, and it is one of the coolest startup, self-made companies I have ever seen.
Of all the people I've ever worked with, and maybe even all the people I've ever met, nobody lives an actual, more aspirational lifestyle than this guy.
Yeah, you know all those motivational douchebags on social media that are like, they try to present themselves as living the coolest possible life? This dude is actually doing that legitimately, and not in like a Dan Bilzerian way, in like a...
uplifting and like...
I'm just living every day by the seat of my pants, having the time of my life.
This guy makes you feel good just when you like look at him. He's got a great smile.
Yes.
So I'm excited for
Very positive person. Going to be a lot of fun on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast this week. So get on there, support the podcast. We appreciate you so much. If you do, you will get a discount code for bolenmedia.com/shop, by the way. And until next time, peace be with you and also with you.